Hello VC, Big Star 1000, Gimme Ten 1974, a really fun endeavour. I thought 73 was going to be hard to list, but I'll tell you what, I had a lot more trouble listing 10 records for 1974. There were so many choices. I have a pile of 30 records literally, which 20 of them will be shown in the Revolutions installment that I'm going to shoot right after this video. I've left some big I had to leave out things, but I had to keep in mind what would I put in. Like you have to try to stay away from popular demand. There's records that you don't include, and people are going to say, "How can you not include that record?" But it's my list, so I do what I want, basically. And so, for instance, I had to leave out "Red" by King Crimson. Don't know, don't ask me why. Just it was number 11. Simply, it was number 11. Thank you for all the responses. I mean, it's overwhelming. I think if I do a count, once we've done 70 to 79, there'll be probably in excess of 100 or more videos made out of this series, which is top notch. I'm going to get started before you get bored of me. So 1974, as I was saying, was really hard to pick because there's so many quality records came out. It's staggering. So many of them. I just thought, wow, I love that record. I love that record. I love that record. But in saying this, the top five, the first five, were really easy choices because some of them are my all-time favorite records. Case in point, with the first inclusion, "On the Beach" by Neil Young. Which, in my opinion, is the best Neil Young album there is. I've thought that for many years and I'll still think it. "On the Beach" is part of the Ditch trilogy, which comprises of Time Fades Away and Tonight's the Night from 75, which will certainly be included in the Gimme 10 75. And this is a masterpiece. It's a flawless record. From the opener, "Walk On," to "See the Sky About to Rain," beautiful ballad on electric piano, Revolution Blues, post-apocalyptic kind of dirge, it's incredible. But the centerpiece of this record and the most amazing song is the title track, "On the Beach." It is just one of the best songs ever, really. It is. There was a time where you couldn't get this album for love or money, and I happened to stumble across this German original in my hometown in France whilst I was holidaying about 10 years ago. I went to the local record store and they had a copy. I was completely taken aback because you couldn't buy it anywhere. It was one of these records, because it was not repressed on CD until I think 2006, perhaps, or maybe a bit later. And so that was a bit before that. The second record that I want to include is another clear favorite. Those two records, "On the Beach" and this guy here, are in my all-time top 10. Without hesitation, "Rock Bottom" by Robert Wyatt. And this here is a copy that includes "Ruth is Stranger Than Richard," which is a pressing from 1983, I believe. And again, there was a time where you could not buy a copy of "Rock Bottom." It just wasn't available. And on a trip to London, I came across this in this shop, and I thought, I've got to have this, and I've never replaced it, really. It plays great. "Rock Bottom" was conceived largely in Venice, I think. If you read the biography by Marcus O'Dea, the Robert Wyatt book, explains that he was bedridden because he had the famous accident, breaking his back, and his wife bought him this little uh, synth thing where he composed a lot of those melodies. This is an album that is undefinable for me. You can't. It's not rock. It's not jazz. It's not prog. It kind of is everything. It's very aquatic, very nautical record. It's got sounds that you've never heard before. It's just ethereal, mysterious, majestic record. It's really a must-have in any collection. And there's one live performance of it that exists, which is the Drury Lane theatre performance, which I have on CD. Very worth picking up. And another record that was really easy to pick was Brian Eno's Taking Tiger Mountain by Strategy, which is currently my favorite Brian Eno record. I'm saying currently because that changes from year to year. This is a wonderful, wonderful album. I believe, no, this is not a first press. It's on EG. It's an 80s press, I think, but it's alright. It plays great. Has some of my favorite songs by Burning Airlines, Give You So Much More. The Fat Lady of Limburg is absolutely stunning. Taking Tiger Mountain. Third Uncle is also a great tune. I regard this as an absolute masterpiece, and it's just it's a standing record. So the fourth records that I would have chosen without any, without question, is a CD actually. And out of 100 records that I'm going to show in this series, one CD, I think we can live with it. Inspiration Information by Shuggie Otis, which is again a masterpiece. If you haven't heard it, it's what you would call psychedelic soul. Now I came across Shuggie Otis in Mojo in 2001 or 2002 or thereabouts, and it was a review of this reissue. Never heard of the guy before, and it just sounded fascinating. The fact that he was meant to join the Rolling Stones. He was a guitar child prodigy. He made his first record when he was 12 years old. All that was, I thought, enthralling, and so I bought this reissue from, what year is that? 2001. That's right. Well, that's when I bought this, just about. And it is such a ahead of its time record. I think in some ways it predates hip hop, not hip hop, trip hop. It's got like atmospheres that are very sort of Portishead Massive Attack-esque on it. And he plays all the instruments himself. This version is great because not only you get Inspiration Information, which is a top-notch album, but you get 4 bonus tracks from his other record, which is called Freedom Flight, I think. And you get the wonderful Strawberry Letter 23, which is not on his Inspiration Information, but it's great. And I've never had the need to rebuy this on vinyl because why? It sounds great. It's fantastic. Next, another really easy, had to have it in the list. Here's Winter in America by Gil Scott-Heron and Brian Jackson. Again, the word masterpiece almost pays no justice to a record of this caliber. The keyboard chops of Brian Jackson, mixed with the wit and the wordsmith's abilities of the lyrical abilities of Gil Scott-Heron, one of the forefathers of hip hop, really. This record is wonderful. It includes ballads like, what is it called? Your Daddy Loves You, and Peace Go With You, Brother, the open track, and also has the most famous song that they did together, which is The Bottle, which is a song talking about alcoholism in black Afro-American society, and just it is one of the turning points of soul jazz. It's funky as well. I mean, I don't know. I don't know whether I can really say anything that's meaningful about this record. It's a monument. Okay, so 5. Now the next 5 are probably less obvious choices. I don't know. Maybe this one is an obvious choice. Very obvious. The Residents, Meet the Residents, their first album. I actually have 2 copies of this. Came out this way. This is the original cover, but this is a reissue of it actually, like a 76 reissue or 77 or something. And what you get here is deconstructed pop music, completely avant-garde mishmash of music concrete, and it's an absolute treat of a record if you have the right ears. It falls in the same box as Captain Beefheart or Frank Zappa. If that's your thing, then the Residents will be your thing. Rough Records, and it's a kind of a piss take on the Beatles. Well, the Beatles are mocked heavily on those covers, but meet the Beatles, Meet the Residents. And these guys were just so ahead of their time, And the theory of obscurity is really something that blows my mind. To record something and to release it only once you've forgotten that you've recorded it. That's just brilliant. Okay, next. A phenomenal Turkish record, Korai, Electronic Turkler. And this is a reissue on Faraway Sounds. I would love to an original, but really, it's not going to happen, or not in this life. It is a sensational progressive psych record. The melodies, I mean, I don't understand anything he's saying. Obviously, I just have no idea. I don't speak Turkish, but it doesn't matter. It's the sound that he makes that is important. I don't think, even if he sang in English, I don't think I would really listen to the lyrics that much. I think that it's better that I don't understand, because it focuses me on the music rather than anything else. This is an essential record, in my opinion. And as far as European psychedelia is concerned, it's a 10 out of 10 record, really. Electronic Turkler, Erkin Koray, Euro psych at its finest. Okay, a few more. Now this one may surprise you, it may amuse you, but yes, I really, really, really love this record. Crime of the Century by Supertramp. There's a helicopter above the house currently. It's making a racket, but I hope it's not disrupting the video. I just love this record. I have no shame in saying this. I think it's one of the best records of the 70s. The songs are to die for, from School, Bloody Well Right, Hide in Your Shell, Rudy, Dreamer, title track. This, okay, a little bit of my personal experience. When I was 18 years old, when I was in my final year of high school, I was very, very uncool. I was listening to things like Supertramp, Depeche Mode, and The Police, and all sorts of things that nobody else listened to, really. Supertramp. I listened to this album in my final year of high school so many times, and so it has kind of an emotional connection for me, rather than you know sheer musical brilliance versus emotional connection. I don't know which wins. Um, but then look, classic record sleeve, great songs. Supertramp were going to be dropped by their label before they recorded this, and the label, in a sort of last ditch effort, gave them money, and then they went into a studio and they just went to town with it, and they recorded this. It's a masterpiece. If you think I'm kidding, if you don't believe me, doesn't matter. It's my opinion anyway. You can insult me, abuse me, call me a fool. I still love this record. Second last is a more recent addition to this, these classic records. I have chosen to include Batsumi, South African jazz. Why? Because there's not enough African records in these top tens. There should be more African records. This is a top of the pile African jazz record. It's spiritual jazz. It's scorching. Every song is killer. You can buy a reissue. This is a Matsuli reissue, number 60 of 500. That's not too bad. It was a very early repress. And what to say? I mean, jazz, spiritual jazz, South African, dynamic, melodic, enthralling. I don't want to say too much. It's Batsumi. Get it, listen to it, be blown away. If you like things like Don Cherry's sort of 70s excursions, Pharoah Sanders, Alice Coltrane, this is a bit of that, but there's a real African tinge to it. And the last record is a French record, which I love, and I chose this record over Red by King Crimson, so I must love it a lot. L'Incendie, Brigitte Fontaine and Areski, which is on BYG, big records. Superb sort of avant folk, freak folk, French chanson mixed with sort of experimental folk music. The lyrics are brilliant. The melodies are memorable. The Brigitte Fontaine's voice, she's okay. I will admit, if I wasn't a French native speaker, I probably wouldn't have included this. I probably would have gone for this, but this is my language. I listen to this and it connects with me. Now, I was talking about King Korai before, not caring about the lyrics. This is true. But with things like this is what matters. You just hear the lyrics. And so there you go. L'Incendie, Brigitte Fontaine, Areski Belkacem. Complete and utter genius record, 1974. So there you go, VC. Here is 10 records that I really love from 1974. Your turn. And I am going to now film the revolutions in which the other records will appear. All the best, VC, and looking forward to your responses.